Hi guys and welcome to Crazy Pepper Revenge. This channel is all about crazy true stories, stuff that happens in real life when things get a little bit messy, people dealing with drama, cheating, lies, breakups, and even revenge. Some stories are wild, some are emotional, but all of them will keep you watching. If you like real talk and real situations, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stick around. This is Crazy Pepper Revenge, where the stories get spicy.
I left you only what you left me, emptiness. Cheating witch.
That night, I asked Tessa what it would take for me to check myself out early. The doctors wanted me to stay another 3 weeks minimum. My leg was still in a massive brace. I could barely walk with a walker. But I needed to move before Barbara emptied our accounts completely. AMA, Tessa said, against medical advice. But Everett, you're still healing, the infection risk alone. I can't stay here, I told her. Not anymore. She helped me understand what I'd need for home care, helped me find a medical supply company that would deliver equipment, even gave me the number of a home health service. I must have made some sound because she immediately started backpedaling. Said she was stressed, said she didn't mean it, but I wasn't really hearing her anymore. I reminded her that my sister had offered to pick her up multiple times, that friends had offered to drive her, that we had more than enough money for gas. Or at least we did before she started making all those withdrawals. 4 weeks in, surgery number 3 on my leg. Still no visit from Barbara. One afternoon, Bernice hesitated before leaving, then asked if I wanted her to talk to Barbara. About what? I asked. The look on her face said it all. About the fact that she hasn't visited her husband in the hospital for 28 days, she finally said. Something broke inside me. Not my heart, more like the bubble of denial I'd been living in. I asked Bernice to check our joint account. Call it a hunch. 2 days later, she brought my laptop and helped me log into our banking app. What I saw made my arterial pressure spike so high that a nurse came running when the monitors went crazy. $6,000 withdrawn over the past month. ATM withdrawals mostly, a few transfers to an account I didn't recognize, and a charge from a jewelry store. Barbara doesn't wear jewelry except her wedding ring and the necklace I got her last Christmas. I was in the hospital for 51 days after a work accident. My wife didn't visit once. When I called her, she said, "You're not worth the gas money. Die fast or heal quick." My stepson took the phone and said, "We don't miss you." I hung up and started planning my revenge. I'm 42M, married to Barbara, 39F, for 8 years. She brought her son Gage into our marriage when he was 8. I really tried with that kid, built him a treehouse, taught him to fish, helped with homework, the whole stepdad package. We weren't exactly relationship goals, but I thought Barbara and I were solid enough. We had our routines, inside jokes, our life together. Everything changed 51 days ago, when a support beam gave way at my construction site. Crushed leg, 3 broken ribs, punctured lung. The doctors later told me I was lucky to be alive. Not feeling particularly lucky these days, TBH. First night was fuzzy from pain meds. Called Barbara, told her not to bring Gage because it looked bad. She said she'd come in the morning. Never showed. Days turned into weeks. She always had excuses. Gage had stuff, dishwasher leaking, our dog Curtis was sick, he wasn't. My sister Bernice visited daily. The nurses started giving me pitying looks. One of them, Tessa, would sit with me during breaks sometimes. 3 weeks in, I was finally moved from ICU to a regular room. By then, I'd only gotten Barbara on the phone twice, both calls under 3 minutes. She always had somewhere to be, something to do. That night I couldn't sleep, kept thinking about our 8th anniversary just 2 months ago. Barbara had seemed distant, checking her phone all night. When I asked if everything was okay, she smiled and said, "Of course, why wouldn't it be?" Weird response, but I let it go. Foreshadowing much, FML. That night, I made the call that changed everything. When I asked when she was planning to visit, she said, "Look, the hospital's 40 minutes away. Gas is $5 a gallon. I'm basically a single parent right now." That's when she said it. "You're not worth the gas money, Everett. Either die fast or heal quick, but I'm sick of this in-between nonsense." Then Gage got on. "We don't miss you. Mom's friend Silvio has been helping with everything." Silvio, our neighbor who moved in 6 months ago, always offering to help Barbara when I worked late. I hung up without another word. The next 2 weeks were a blur of physical therapy, doctor visits, and secret planning. I told hospital staff not to give Barbara any information if she called. She didn't. Had Bernice bring me documents from our home office while Barbara was at work? I made some calls using Bernice's phone. Meanwhile, I started tracking the bank accounts daily. More withdrawals, more unexplained expenses. A charge for 2 plane tickets to Cancun. Barbara hates the beach, says the sand gets everywhere. One afternoon, Bernice came in looking nervous. Said she'd driven by our house and seen Silvio's car in the driveway at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday when Barbara was supposed to be at work. I didn't explode, didn't cry. Instead, I felt this strange calm settle over me, like everything finally made sense. Day 51, I signed myself out against medical advice. Still needed a walker, leg, and a massive brace, but I couldn't stay there anymore. Bernice picked me up and drove me to an extended stay hotel instead of home. "You're going nuclear, aren't you?" she asked. "I'm going to give Barbara exactly what she deserves. Nothing more, nothing less." Operation Empty House began. From the hotel, I hired a lawyer named Reggie. We documented everything: the house, cars, bank accounts. Barbara thought I was still in the hospital. I texted her saying reception was spotty and I'd call when I could. She replied with a thumbs up emoji. While she planned a girls' weekend in Nashville, I planned my exit. Found an apartment, arranged movers for Saturday while she was gone, made detailed inventory of what was mine, what we bought together, what was hers. Saturday came. Bernice confirmed Barbara's car was gone. The movers were efficient, took my bedroom set from before marriage, office setup, tools, left her vanity, clothes, craft supplies. Even left Gage's stuff except the gaming system I'd bought him last Christmas. Curtis came bounding downstairs when he heard my voice, nearly knocked me over despite my crutches. 80 pounds of pure canine joy. That moment almost broke me. By 7 p.m., the truck was loaded, did one final walkthrough, found our wedding photo on Barbara's nightstand, and left it. Let her deal with that memory. At 6:47 p.m. Sunday, my phone exploded. Barbara was home. "Where is all our stuff?" "What did you do?" I didn't answer. Turned my phone off after the 6th call. Bernice sent me doorbell camera footage of Barbara screaming on our front lawn. "He took everything." Even the goddamn dog. The next morning, I had Reggie send Barbara a formal letter explaining what I'd taken and why, along with divorce papers. 3 days later, Gage called from an unknown number asking to visit, just to talk. He showed up wearing the hoodie I'd gotten him last Christmas. We sat on my balcony drinking sodas while he told me the truth. Barbara and Silvio had been together almost a year. He'd overheard them talking about my accident being convenient. The "we don't miss you" line wasn't even his idea. Barbara coached him, promised him a new gaming system if he said it convincingly. Barbara called that night from another new number. We talked for 2 hours. She admitted everything. The affair started 9 months before my accident. She was planning to divorce me, but then I got hurt. If I died, she'd get insurance money. If I lived, she'd have to split everything. That's why she never visited. She was hoping I wouldn't make it. The Cancun tickets were for her and Silvio. The jewelry was for him. She told me all this because Silvio had broken up with her the day after I moved out. Apparently, my psycho move spooked him. "Why tell me this now?" I asked. She laughed hollowly. "Silvio's gone. I'm alone in a half-empty house with a son who barely speaks to me." 2 weeks after the move, doorbell camera caught Barbara sitting in her car in my visitor parking lot for 3 hours. That night, she called from yet another new number. Her voice sounded different, subdued. She asked about Curtis, asked if I was healing okay, then went quiet. Finally, she said she'd tell me everything if I wanted to know. No more lies, no more games. Let that sink in. My wife of 8 years was actively hoping I would die. A week later, Gage asked if he could stay with me on weekends. Said things at home were tense. Barbara drinking more, crying at random times, picking fights. I checked with my lawyer. Legally complicated, but doable with Barbara's consent. Surprisingly, she agreed. I cleared out the second bedroom, set it up for Gage. First weekend was awkward as hell. By the third weekend, we'd found our rhythm. Friday night movies, Saturday morning pancakes, Sunday dog walks with Curtis. Meanwhile, divorce proceedings trudged forward. Barbara contested some property division initially, then suddenly dropped it. Signed everything without further argument. 6 weeks after the move, I ran into Tessa, a nurse from the hospital. We met for coffee. Nothing romantic, just two people catching up. She mentioned a support group for people recovering from major injuries and life changes. 2 weeks later, I found myself in a community center meeting room surrounded by strangers with their own stories. 3 months post-move, things were settling into a new normal. My leg was healing, still with a limp, but no more crutches. The apartment actually looked like someone lived there. Then came the day of the final divorce hearing. Courtroom was smaller than expected. Barbara sat across the aisle wearing a dress I'd never seen. When our eyes met, she gave a tight smile that didn't reach her eyes. Proceedings were anticlimactic. Judge reviewed our agreement, asked a few questions, then made it official. 8 years of marriage dissolved in less than 30 minutes. As we walked out, Barbara stopped me in the hallway. She handed me an envelope, said it was a copy of our wedding photo I'd left behind, said she thought I might want it someday. I thanked her politely and walked away. The photo went straight into the trash when I got home. That evening, I got a text from Gage asking if our weekend plans were still on despite the divorce being final. Something about that message hit me hard. I texted back, "Of course. Pizza and movie night tomorrow. Your pick this time?" The next evening, as Gage and I sat on the couch with Curtis sprawled across both our laps, I found myself actually laughing at some stupid joke in the movie. That's when it hit me. I was going to be okay. Last week, Barbara finally sold the house. Yesterday, I had my final physical therapy session. Therapist said I'd made remarkable progress. I credited spite and stubbornness. She called it resilience. So that's where things stand. Divorce finalized, house sold, physical recovery on track. Gage visiting regularly, Curtis thriving, me finding my way forward one day at a time. Oh, and Tessa, we've had coffee 6 times now, dinner twice. Nothing rushed, nothing forced. She came over last weekend and taught Gage how to make homemade pasta. Kitchen looked like a flour bomb exploded, but it was the best meal I'd had in months. Barbara still texts occasionally about practical matters. Our conversations are civil but brief. The anger has faded to distant acknowledgement. We were part of each other's stories for a while. Now we're not. Someone asked recently if I regret how I handled things, if Operation Empty House was too extreme. Maybe it was, but I don't regret standing up for myself. Don't regret showing Barbara exactly what life without me looked like. In the end, she found an empty house. I found myself again. Thanks for listening, Reddit. Your comments and support got me through some really dark days. Not sure I'll be posting more updates. Hoping my life gets boring enough that there's nothing worth sharing. That sounds pretty good right about now.